everyone, I'm Nicole Newman, and today I'm going to show you a great recipe. It's going to be my recipe for chili. Got a lot of ingredients out here on the table, but it is a one-pot meal, and I love that about it. I went ahead and sauteed up some bacon. I had 4 strips of thick-cut bacon that I sauteed here, and I have the bacon fat heating up in my pan. I'm going to go ahead and add in about 1.5 cups of red onion that I have diced up. And then we're going to get our peppers going too. I'm just going to show you a great trick with the peppers to core them out. This is just a melon baller. Works really great for getting the stems out of a pepper. So a multi-function tool is always good for me. I'm going to go ahead and core one of my jalapeños and get some of the seeds. Just lightly core the other one. I'm not going to do all of it because I do want a little bit of heat in there. It's going to help spice up my chili. I don't need a lot of heat though. So we'll get rid of that. I'm going to go ahead and get these diced up and add them into my onions, let these saute, and then of course I'm going to add in the garlic last, so that way we can not overwork that and give it that bitter taste. We don't want the garlic to burn. And then I have some brown bits on the bottom here that I'm going to go ahead and work up. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to my onions to kind of draw out some of the moisture in them and help work up those brown bits from the bacon that we had going. And when we come back, we'll go ahead and get our meat going in the pan, do that in a few shifts, and start building this together. Alright guys, so I got my peppers, my jalapeno, my poblano. I got those diced up and sauteed those with the onion and the garlic. And then I'm going to go ahead and just finish off. I had 3 pounds of chuck roast here. I've been doing that in some batches. I'm going to go ahead and finish off that last one. My bacon grease kind of ran a little dry, so I added a little bit of oil to the pan. You can use any kind of high smoking point oil, like grapeseed. That's what I just happened to grab today off the Lazy Susan, but grapeseed olive oil would be fine. I'm going to go ahead and just give this a good season of salt and pepper. You want to season things as you go, so that way at the end we're not adding a bunch of salt. We can just kind of go in batches and kind of help build up that flavor. And then I'm going to go ahead and get that into my stock pot and get that moving around. I've got some good caramelized brown sooks on the bottom that we're going to work up too in this last batch. So I'm going to go ahead and give those, turn my pan back up, and get those going. So I've got my bacon, my peppers, onions, and garlic, my chuck roast, 3 pounds of that. Let's talk about our other ingredients. I have 2 cans of dark red kidney beans here. You can also use a light red kidney bean. I just had dark red on the Lazy Susan. I have the zest and juice of 1 lime. And then here I have some crushed tomatoes, the chili beans in a hot chili sauce. These are hot chili beans, so I didn't drain these. The kidney beans have been drained, but these ones still have that sauce in there. I'll just help kind of give it a little bit of heat. I have some tomato sauce, tomato paste. We're going to add that in just a second. And then some whole tomatoes that we'll break up with our hands. We've got our bacon here. About 1 cup of beef stock, homemade. You can see my video to that in our how-to. Or you can use store-bought, whatever you would like, whatever's easiest for you. I just like to take the homemade. I don't think it's easy. Anyway, let's go ahead and get our seasonings together. So I have some cumin, some cayenne, some roasted red pepper, paprika, some chipotle chili powder, and some ground mustard. I'm going to go ahead and start with our cayenne, just a 1/4 teaspoon of that because it's a little spicy. That going in here. And then we're also going to do 1/2 teaspoon of the dry mustard. And 1/2 teaspoon of the chipotle chili pepper. And 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. And then we're going to do a tablespoon of the cumin. Sorry, 2 tablespoons of the cumin. We'll do in there. And a nice smoky flavor to our chili. We've got plenty of heat from the jalapeno and our kidney beans and the cayenne. We give it a nice smoky flavor. And then we're going to do 1/2 teaspoon as well of the paprika, the smoked paprika. So there's our sauces. We'll get those going, or our seasoning. We'll get that going in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and keep stirring this. Almost there. I'm going to remove it and start returning things back to the pan and building up this chili. So it's a little bit of prep work in the beginning. Kind of like the beef stroganoff was, but then once you get it going, then it's just all back together and simmers for about 4 hours on the stove top, and it's going to be perfect. This chuck roast is going to get really tender and just kind of fall apart, melt in the threads. If you don't have that kind of time, you only have maybe an hour, it takes at least an hour to get all the flavors melded together. Sometimes I'll do it in my crock pot and let it go all day, all night. Have it the next night for dinner. But if you don't have that kind of time, just an hour or so, and you want a pot of chili, you can use ground beef. That would also be effective. Chuck roast just kind of makes it a little more special. But it's a tender, or a tough cut, so you want to make sure that it gets nice and tender. So you need about 4 hours that we'll let this simmer. Alright, so we're going to start getting this all put together. I am going to start with my peppers, onions, and garlic back in the pan. I'm just going to turn my heat down to medium-low. I'm going to go ahead and add the bacon back in as well. And I'm going to add in my tomato paste. We have a 6-ounce can here of tomato paste, 6.5 ounces, 6 ounces that we're going to add in. And just let this deepen in color, just a couple of seconds that that's going to take. About a minute. Alright, just kind of move that around and just start working all of those bits up off the bottom that we have from our last batch of beef in there. That's going to add great flavor. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and add in all of our chuck roast and the juice that we have from that. You can see the bottom of my pan is nice and clean. I should have shown you one before, but I had a lot of brown bits on the bottom, and that's nice and clean. So that is good to see that we have that flavor in there. I'm going to add in my beans. Hot chili beans. Alright, and then the crushed tomatoes, the tomato sauce can go in. Our seasoning, I'm just going to mix with a little bit of beef stock, just kind of form a paste. Just going to kind of help it infuse. I don't want to put it all into the liquid as it's heating up and it not really disperse through. So I just kind of make a little bit of a paste with it and then pour that in. And then we're going to add about half a cup to a cup of beef stock. This is something that I might keep adding in throughout while it's simmering if I need a little more liquid in there. So we'll start with just a little bit and kind of build from there. We have our lime zest and our lime juice that I'm going to add in. I have another lime that I'm going to have for serving. Really like it just kind of freshens everything up, makes it kind of bright, flavorful at the end, but gives it a little bit of brightness right now. And then our tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and dump in the juice. And then we're going to gently start breaking these up. Be careful because a lot of the juice can squirt out of them and make a big mess of your clothes or the table or kitchen. So just be careful whenever you're breaking those up. I'm just going to kind of gently break them up and get this going. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to let this simmer for about 4 hours. I'm serving this with a Mexican corn cake, and you can find that recipe in the link below. If you click on show more, then you can see the recipe link for that. You can see my video there and go ahead and have that going. So when we come back, I'll show you how to get this all topped off. I'm going to top it with some sour cream, some red onion, cilantro, cheese, have all the toppings out for it, our limes. It's going to be really great. We're going to have our friends over and they can just pick however they'd like to top it. Alright guys, so my chili's been simmering for about 4 hours. The chuck roast is really tenderized. You can pull it apart with a fork. And I've got a little sample here. Our guests aren't quite here yet. I still got to make our corn pudding or Mexican corn cake. But I'm just going to go ahead and take a little taste. So I've topped this with some cheddar cheese, some sour cream, some cilantro, and some fresh onion, and a little bit of lime juice. I'm just going to go ahead and mix it all in and get a bite. We added all of our, lots of flavors building up in this. We have a lot of smokiness and heat going on with our peppers and our seasonings, so should be good. Chili isn't something I make often for a group, especially my family. My dad doesn't like beans. My mom doesn't like spice. My husband and I like it just like this, so not something that I make often for them, but definitely something that's great for entertaining. I love that it's a one-pot meal. It just makes the house smell so good. Really good. There's not a lot of heat to it, but there's a lot of just kind of warmth and smokiness from our jalapeno and our spices, or cayenne pepper, and that cumin adds such a deep smoky flavor to it. So definitely something for a cooler night. Really helps warm you up. It's really hearty. I love it. So we're serving this with some cornbread, and I'm going to have some dessert with it tonight. It's going to be pretty simple, not too fancy. That's just the way we like it in the winter time, so we'll be set. I hope you guys enjoy this recipe, and make sure you tag me on social media at Nicole Newman's Kitchen. I'll see you guys soon.